1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move, whatever click you choose.
Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to Life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down! Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that's me gassing right there on that intro, man. And if you want to get that song, it is available only on a digital download, man. Hit me up on my email, 16tolifemusic@gmail.com. That's 16DALIFEMUSIC@gmail.com. Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle me $20, and I'll get it to you ASAP. Right now, man, I'm going to be reacting to a video. It's an interview, actually, with Banky Pound on the Connect with Johnny Mitchell, man. So y'all be sure to tune in. Check out that full entire interview. But Banky, in this interview, man, we're going to see a different type of Banky than what we normally used to. So Banky going to be talking about doing a little time in prison when he got stabbed, and also when he ran up a big gambling debt and refused to pay. So anyway, man, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to Life. Let's hop right up into this reaction.
What happened when you got stabbed? Yeah, we didn't even get into that.
Well, I got stabbed twice. Both times I was real fortunate. First time sucker stabbed me when I was asleep, but he was trying to.
You Sally?
Yeah, he was a bitch. He
Banky Pound said, he was a bitch. Now, a lot of people are surprised, man, because Banky Pound normally doesn't cuss on his show. So yeah, this is like I say, man, we getting ready to see a new Banky Pound, man, and it is what it is, man. I definitely believe the reason, Banky Pound doesn't cuss on his show is because you get a higher RPM, you get more money if you keep it clean. So Banky Pound is human. He done a lot of time in the pen. It is what it is.
He was trying to more or less shake me up than kill me.
Yeah.
But he miscalculated, you know what I'm saying? He thought he was gonna scare me enough to be like, get the fuck out of the cell and I'll kill you in here. But when he hit me in my back, and I jump up immediately, and he bag up, and he's just talking like, "I kill you in this. I told you I kill you." And I'm like, "Oh, you," and I can feel it, and I'm like, "Oh," and I see his hands, so I'm advancing on him. I'm like, "What's up?" But he like, "I'm telling you, I kill you," but he couldn't do nothing. I knew he couldn't do nothing. And I hit him, and it fair. I could have murked him in it, but I'm late because he's in the cell. I can't get away with it.
Right.
I just beat the shit out of him. You know what I'm saying?
What kind of knife?
He has some. That's the thing. If he now, that's the thing. And I said that when I speak about it. Now, if he had a big knife or something real, he'd have killed me. It's just that simple. Because I was he'd have killed me.
Now imagine being locked up, confined in close quarters, and on top of that, man, you sleep. You wake up, somebody didn't stab you in your sleep, and I'm gonna keep it 100, man. A lot of dudes, man, in that situation, they would have jumped up and they would have not got cracking, man. So shout out to Banky, because this dude has got a knife. This dude has already stabbed you once. You sleep, you drowsy, you're not really aware of what's going on, man. But that's what prison is, man. Either you with it or you not with it, And Banky got cracking.
I'm saying, but he has some piece of steel that won't sharpen good enough, and it just more or less is punctured me, but the pain of the pressure from hitting me hurt worse than the actual puncture.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the force of it, but he was faking. And you can die faking. You know what I'm saying? The other dude, he stabbed me in my hand because we get the rumbling, he run his mouth, and I pop him in his mouth and run his mouth, and he ran to pick something up. So I was looking for something to pick up, the broom handle, and he come back, and I got the what's name, and I start clucking his ass, and he back up, and he's swinging, and I put my hand up to block him, and I thought he was swinging him, but he had a knife, and he hit me in my hand. I said, oh, you got a knife. So then I really, you know what I'm saying? Because I had dropped the broom handle because I was like, you can fight, I'll whoop you. But I went and picked it back up, and I wanted to beat his goddamn skull in. But
hey man, I'm telling you, man, it's just, hey, for a lot of people, I know it's hard to get over, hearing Banky Pound use his language, man. But once again, in my opinion, Banky Pound got into it with another individual who wasn't necessarily serious about doing what he had to do. Some people, when you're in a place, and see, I think real quick, Banky Pound doing time initially when he got down there doing time in that place, when you don't have the Crips and the blood elements or the gang structure, actually doing time in a place like that is actually a lot harder because when you get into it with an individual in California and this dude may have 10, 15 homies to back his play, sometimes that stops a whole lot of stuff, or that may even prevent how you approach a person. But doing the time down there at the time Banky Pound started, when it's more mano a mano, when it's more man on man, each man for itself is definitely a tougher situation. And so the dude who got the knife, man, he has a knife and Banky doesn't. So if he's extremely serious about trying to harm Banky, he just gonna rush him. He'll take a punch or two to get in there and do damage with that knife because he knows that knife is gonna have more of an effect on his punches. So obviously that dude, in my opinion, wasn't serious about getting his man. Lucky for Banky.
I got to whooping them, and they come running in, they jump on me. But he only got me in my hand. Dude only got me in my back. 3, 4 other attempts that just never got to me. You know what I'm saying? But
what were some of these beefs over? Like when you were running your store, was that when you had the most problems?
I ain't gonna say the most problems when I'm running my.
Now, for those out there that may be not familiar with the prison terminology, when Banky Pound says he's running a store, what he is talking about is he goes to the canteen, or some people call it commissary, and he'll buy a whole lot of items. Everybody's not fortunate enough to always have people send them money from the outside. So say a person may go to Banky Pound and they need a soup, or they need a box of cookies, or they need a toothpaste or a toothbrush or whatever. So Banky Pound will he'll mark the item up. If the item costs maybe $1.75, he may charge them $2.75. Or you have a lot of people who do what's known as 2 for 1. Okay, I'm gonna give you these cookies, and then when you go back to the store, you bring me 2 cookies. And so that's basically what he's talking about when he mentions that he's running a store. And a lot of times doing things like that can get problematic, because when you loan somebody some cookies or whatever it is, people don't always keep their word. And so if you run a store and you let people work you and not pay you, everybody gonna do it. So you got to definitely get violent when a situation like that arises.
My store, but I've had problems when I'm running my store. I wouldn't say they're the most. I would say, but definitely not the most violent. The most violent problems I had was probably from gambling. And I know I was a dumbass. I did it anyway. Kept doing it. But
is it because you're winning people's money and they don't like that?
You win, and this is some about prison too. Gambling. Say for instance, I beat you out of $300, right? You lost the shit. You owed me. If I don't give you a break, then all of a sudden I'm a bad guy. I'm a shitty guy. Okay, I supposed to say, all right, Johnny, you lost 300. But you'll say, well, it's 6 dudes with me. You won everything, man. Can you look out for me? And if I say, nah, I wanted 300, then I'm people. They want you to say, Johnny, you owe me 300. Just give me 180.
Right. You didn't really, yeah. So it's not a loss out of your pocket.
But
I still owe you.
Right, and then you got to look at the person. You got to see who they are and whether you're willing to do that. And then, like I say, people take it a different way. So I do that for you now, and then when you turn around, you think I'm gonna give you a break every time. But then when I don't want to give you a break, then it's a problem. Right. So you gotta weigh that out. You gotta be like, I ain't giving no breaks, period. When I lose, I don't want no breaks because I ain't giving none. So if you set that, then don't expect nothing different. So, but it always turns into something.
And that's he's definitely right. And that's something that I stayed away from, right? For the most part. I may would gamble every now and then, maybe $5 or $10 on a basketball game or something like that. But so what he's primarily talking about is, and I would see this in California all the time, you have dudes who that's all they do all day long. You know, they go out there, they play poker, you know, they play pinochle, they play cards, dominoes, but primarily poker. And so when you sitting around and you gambling all day long, you know, you're going to have some individuals who lose. And then when they lose, they may lose $400 or $500. And they may come up to you and say, hey, man, I lost $500, man. Can you give me a break? But, you know, let me pay you $250 or let me pay you $300. And then sometimes they get mad when you say no. But the thing is this, once you lose the money is lost. It's no longer yours. So you can't automatically expect people to give you a break. But those who gamble sometimes, you know, you have the same crowd who consistently gamble with each other. And sometimes that's what they do out there. I've had friends like that who do that. I told a story about, I think the name of the story was, he got lefts and rights over a poker game or something like that. And my friend, he would consistently gamble, you know, and so sometimes that stuff goes on, but it just depends on the mentality that you take, you know, while you're gambling. Like you said, man, if you're not going to give no breaks, then don't expect none when you lose.
Always, even if it ain't nothing but, okay, boom, you lost 300, and I say, Johnny, you know, you gotta give me all that, bro. I need all that. And then you say, hey, okay, that's what it is. And you bring 300, and then you run around the park talking about, man, we try to get all the money, you want all the money, woo. Then it come back to me, then I approach you, then you bang, and then it's popping. Right. You see what I'm saying? So I had a lot of those. Be honest, in my early days too, I lost a certain amount of money. I buck on the you know what I'm saying? I done bucked on
paying you.
Hell yeah, I done did that, and that caused me a lot of problems, man. You know, yeah.
Do you think you won more than you lost?
Hell yeah. Okay. I would have been stopped if I'd have lost more than I won. Yeah. But I've lost sometimes where it was more than I was willing to pay, man.
What were some like the big gambling losses?
Now, you heard him say right there, you know, he at times lost more than he was willing to pay. And see, that's the thing about gambling, right? Sometimes, you know, you have dudes who out there and they gamble for leisure, like Crazo from Raymond. Shout out to baby Crazo, man. Crazo would gamble all the time, but when he lose, he's gonna pay. But you have some individuals who they're not gambling for leisure. They're gambling because they're broke and they are going into the game believing they're going to win. They need this money. And so they need to go out there and win. And so when it doesn't turn out, then suddenly now it's a problem because they don't have the money in their sale to pay. You never should go out there and gamble with anything that you do not have. And you shouldn't gamble past the limit that you are willing to pay.
Prison.
Yeah, man, if I lost one time, I was in a poker game one time, I probably was down about 5 G's. Wow. I was probably down 5,000 in a day. In a day, man. I'm like, I already knew when I just kept losing, I said, I ain't paying this.
Wow. I mean, that's so dangerous. You're with everybody's a killer. Everybody's got life. Everybody's stressed out and people are losing like casino level amounts of money.
I couldn't pay that though. There's no way I could pay. And in my mind, I was kept saying this keep giving me money. Yeah. You know, it's like, I know it's going to be some, but in my mind, I got to 2,000, I know I won't pay that.
Yeah.
I was just getting more, trying to get back. I was just trying to get even. Yeah. But once I couldn't get even, I'm like, I ain't paying this. Ain't no way I'm paying this. So, you know.
And to keep it 100, that's what I was talking about earlier, man. In that situation, you know, BANKY was 100% wrong. You know what I'm saying? When you lose money, you have to pay. And that's what I was saying earlier. You know, now, like he said, at this point, he in his mind, he like, man, I'm not paying. So now he's continually gambling because he's hoping against hope that, you know, he'll win a few hands. He can just lower the amount and possibly maybe he'll break even. And this what happens a lot of time. Dudes now, you know, they get over the means, or beyond what they can pay, and now they in their mind, they scramble. It's panic. Now they panic. Okay, now I got to keep gambling because I can't go back to the cell and get this, you know, this amount that I owe. When you gamble, like I said, you know, depending on the contract or what's agreed upon out there at the gambling table, but the majority of the time, you're supposed to have the money in your cell, you know, whatever it is, you know, you have to have that many items in your cell that adds up to that amount of money. And so, you know, some people don't have it. And then you have a situation like this that arises.
I'm saying, so I knew when the game was over, I went to my cell. I started packing my stuff and getting ready because I knew I won't pay that. You know what I'm saying? I knew I won't pay that. There ain't nowhere in the world. I would never, and I know it's wrong. I'm not trying to justify nothing, but I had already made up in my mind a long time. I would never pay a debt in prison, even if I was rightfully lost it. I would never pay a debt in prison where it left me with nothing. I would never do that. I would never pay a debt that cost that I had to pay with my family money, like money that they send me. I would never pay a debt with that. I would never do anything with that. Anything that I ever lose in gambling has to be from some that I done got from gambling, like store-box money or other gambling. But if it cut into like something that my people like got me, like give them my TV or get the fuck out of here. Come on with what you got.
So you went and packed
and see it, and that's what I'm saying right there, you know. So everybody in their mind mentally, they have a cutoff point. So Banky's cutoff point was whatever he had received from his family, he was never going to go into that. He would lose what he had earned in prison, either by working or by gambling or hustling, but he wasn't going to lose what his family sent. And I 100% support that, right? I had a good homie who I used to be on him all the time, like, homie, your family sent you this, homie. There is no way you're supposed to go out and lose this. You know, when your family or anyone is nice enough from the streets to send you some money, you should do with that money what they intended for you to do. If they intended for you to eat, you know, go to the store, that's what you should do, because anything other than that is a disrespect to your family. Real quick, so it reminds me, I had a homie one time who got into a huge gambling debt and couldn't pay. And, you know, we went down there, man, and made him give up. He had just got a brand new TV. They had these TVs, flat screen TVs, and they also had CD players. So it was a CD TV combination, and he had only had it about 2 days. I told homie, you got to get that up, man. You gotta pay your debt. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, man, it gets ugly though. You know, that gambling in prison definitely gets ugly.
Lost 5 G's, went and packed all your, and then what? Went and saw the dude.
You know, I ain't want to see him. He can't see me. You owe you 5 G's. He come to see.
Damn right.
Sure.
He came to the door. He's like, yo, Bank, what's up? I said, what's happening? I see people in the door. He said, I mean, what we gonna do, man? You know, and he came with that same shit I'm telling you. He was like, you ain't gotta give me all that, man. I know that's a whole lot, you know. And then that kind of like gave me a little relief. I'm like, okay, because beat everybody at the table. So I already know I'm counting the money. You done beat everybody. So
how much?
And see right there, that's another thing. Counting another man's money, you know. So Banky said, okay, man, you know. So Banky already said he ain't fit to pay. He going there, he pack up, he preparing for war. So in his mind, he's already calculated what this individual has made. So he said, okay, well, man, you know, you didn't want, beat him. Okay, man, you didn't want $7,000, man. So, you know, but at the end of the day, like I say, I always keep it real. You counting another man's bread. Damn what he didn't want, pay what you owe and do it moving.
Do you think he won?
Probably about 9. About 9.
9 G's in prison is like 100,000.
It's like 100,000.
I mean, you can do so much with that.
He probably won about 9. So when I'm saying to myself, when I say that, I said, okay, well, this might not be as bad. So I'm thinking, this like, boom, man, just give me like $300-400, something like that. But you don't want, you know, just astronomical money anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That say give him $1,500.
Off of 5.
I'm a $1,500 though in prison. You know how much money that is in prison. I'm not giving you no $1,500. You might.
Now see right there, you know what I mean? To be honest, $1,500 off a $5,000 loss, that is definitely generous because it's way more than half, But now, in Banky Pound's mind, he has assumed a stance, right? And if the dude goes anything above what Banky has figured he can pay, he's gonna get irate. When of course, clearly, Banky Pound is 100% in the wrong, and that's why gambling in prison is so dangerous and something that I stayed away from because if I lost, I was gonna pay. But of course, if you're an individual that's gonna pay, you intend to get paid, and then it creates a whole nother situation that you didn't have to get into had you stayed away from gambling to begin with. So yeah, that was something that I definitely stayed away from. And I told a story one time, man, where I had to pull that Bethlehem out, as Banky called it, and get cracking. And it was behind, I think, $1 debt. We bet on the basketball game, but the dude who I get into it with, he had some underlying issues with me, and so that was just a reason to cut into me. But like I say, man, prison is a tricky game, man. It's definitely tricky.
Well, I asked for the fine, $1,500. I say, what you say? He said, just give me 15, Banky. You lost 5. And I'm looking at you. I said, for real, dog. For real. Because normally gambling games, dudes lose 200, 300, 400. Right. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
But you want me to give you 1,500, dog? So he said, bro, you lost 5. I said, man, get the out of here, bro. I'm not giving you no $1,500, dog. He said, so what you was talking about giving me? I said, I ain't talking about getting you now. You gonna carry me like that? Talking about $1,500, dog. When I saw you beat everybody at the table, dog, and you gonna tell me $1,500? He said, Bank, man, you lost, man. I said, man, get the for my dough, dog. I'm not giving you that, dog. What's happening? He said,
hey, Banky told the dude, man, hey, listen here, man, get on like you been shit on, man. Get away from the dough. Hey, so look, like I say, man, Banky, now he coming with the gangster hand. Now I'm not paying you nothing. Now it is what it is. So now he has put the other dude in a situation to where does he want to stand up and get his money based on principle, or does he want to calculate? He say, okay, man, I didn't want from these other dudes. I didn't want 9,000. Okay, they gonna give me about 7,000. Do I just say screw Banky Pound because I can't miss what I ain't never had? Or do I just stand up for principle, possibly throw my life away, get caught up in a situation, get killed? I mean, it's just a whole bunch of different things to factor in a situation like this. And like I say, man, keeping it 100% clean, like I always do. Banky Pound is 100% wrong, but he didn't took a stance like I'm not paying. So what's the other dude to do, man? You got to figure it out, man. Do I want to ride for my bread, or do I just want to let it go?
Oh, that's what you want. I said, that's exactly what the fuck I'm on. I'm not giving you nothing, bro. If you would have came here and you would have said some reasonable shit, I would have worked with you. You talking about $1,500? You think I'm a bitch? I'm not giving you no $1,500, dog.
Now, once again, like I say, man, hear the craziness in the rationale that Banky Pound has used. Banky Pound said, if you had came to the door and told me something, I would have worked with you. Banky, hey, say, Banky, you my dog, man. But hey, listen, man, you lost. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to be working with him. He's supposed to be working with you. And like I said, man, at the time, we all go to prison for not doing our best of thinking, and we use crazy rationale sometimes to try to deal with things that we going on. So now Banky basically is telling him, now I'm gonna pay you what I feel like paying you, even though I lost. And like I say, mentalities like this and others is what makes prison so dangerous.
I'm not giving nobody $1,500. Go get your buddies. I'm not giving nobody no $1,500, though. So he said, what you want to give me? I said, I'm not giving you nothing now. Nothing. That is dead. You talking about $1,500? I ain't got to get in your game no more. You ain't got to talk to me no more. If you want to get busy, we can get busy. I'm not giving you. And he was like, all right. And I said, what's all right mean? But he was walking away. So I come back out the cell because that all right could mean that's your ass. So,
and we already know what that all right mean, because basically Banky has told this dude, we have a saying in California, man, when you tell somebody you're not paying them, basically get it like Tyson. You know what I'm saying? Basically earn your money the same way Tyson earned his, basically with them lefts and them rights. I used to have a saying saying, no, that's all right. I'm gonna come get it like OJ. And y'all know how OJ got his. But anyway, man, it gets tricky in the penitentiary.
I come out.
Yeah, excuse me. What did you mean by all right?
So I come out.
All right.
Yeah.
Or was it all right?
Yeah. It's very nice. So I come out and he walking away. I'm like, so what's happening? You know what I'm saying? He started walking. He won't answer me. I said, yo, what's good? What's up? He keep walking. I said, okay, So I go back in my cell, scrapped up now. I'm like, okay, guy, that's what it is. So I come out, I go to his cell. So he up in his cell talking to his cellar. I come straight to the door. I walk to the door. I said, man, what's up, man? He said, man, that's your dad. Don't worry about it. We ain't talk about them. I said, I don't know what that mean. You were walking in the till, bro, and I'm asking you what's going on. You ignoring me. You got me on some paranoid. What's up? If the shit going down, let's get it over with. So his cellar told me, man, what's up, man? I said, man, ain't nobody even talking to you. Because I'm already in war mode now. So he was like, bro, that dead. Don't worry about that. Though I ain't know you gonna curry like that, but don't even worry about it. I'm winning anyway. I'm already up. I said, bro, you need to tell me what's good. I'm not liking these vibes, man. You know, cause I be like that. I get paranoid. He said, man, that dead, man. You wrong. You know you wrong. But that dead, bro. I don't even want to deal with you no more. I don't want to deal with you no more. I'm trying to get some money. You want some. So I'm looking at him, right, and I'm trying to see if he trying to rock me to sleep, if he trying to catch me on some sneaky. Yeah. So I just looking at him, he's like standing there, then the cellar standing there, and both of them looking at me on some crazy. So he's like, Dad, Bank, don't worry about it. Go ahead, bro. You like you pushing the issue. Go ahead. So I'm stunned though. I'm like, I'm in between. Get this in there and go ahead and cut my loss, or this nigga catch me sleep. So,
and you know, man, that is definitely a tactic that a lot of individuals use, and I definitely use myself, man. And that story, you know, I told y'all where I had to pick that Bethlehem. One of the last things I told that dude is, don't worry about it, man. I ain't tripping this over, man. You know, you go your way, I go mine, man. You know, you don't bother me, I won't bother you. And the second he turned his head, man, I ran up on him and tried to send him to the upper room. So when this dude now is telling Banky, everything is cool, you know, Banky he's weighing out in his mind like, man, is this dude trying to play me? Is this dude trying to put me to sleep? So, you know, when a dude tell you that and you know in your heart you wrong, you definitely got to keep your eye on the dude, man.
I said, all right, bro, all right, that's what it is. And I leave, but I was paranoid, and I watched this for probably about 2 months. Every goddamn day, he go to ice machine, I'm watching his ass. He go eat, I'm watching his ass. He playing poker, I'm watching his ass. I just thought this was plotting on me for that type of money, but he ain't do.
Man, that definitely was a funny story right there, man. And I believe the name of the show is Connect with Johnny Mitchell. And so, yeah, you can go watch the full interview. Go check out Banky and Johnny Mitchell, man. And you know, it is what it is, man. Banky is a friend of mine. I would say a good friend of mine. You know, I went out there a couple of years ago, went down to visit Banky. You know, he showed me a lot of hospitality. Let me stay in his Airbnb for free. And so, yeah, man, but you know, at the end of the day, we got to keep it real, man. We got to, you know, I can't pull no punches just because he's a good friend. And especially, you know, this is an old story and I'm just giving it to you real, man, you know, and for all these reasons and many more, prison can be tricky, you know. So whether you in prison or you're not in prison, man, always do the right thing. You know, you always have to do the right thing, you know. And so, you know, when you have a set amount of money that you say, okay, I'm not going past this, don't go past that, you know, because it could have turned into a situation, you know, because a lot of times people in prison are always worried about what other people are going to think about them. In this situation, Banky Pound ain't worried because he put the buffalo hand down on this dude. The other dude is now worried because it may get out, okay, well, man, dudes at the table, you know, they heard Banky Pound lost X amount of dollars, and then they find out that he ain't paying. They like, well, damn, man, damn, you let Banky tell you, you know, I'm not paying you for $5,000. So then the next time another dude lose, he gonna do the same thing because he thinking that this dude is soft as whipped cream. You know what I'm saying? If he ain't paying you, why should I pay you? So yeah, so now the dude got to weigh out all these things, and now maybe this dude might be forced to do something that he wasn't planning on doing. Who knows? You know, the other dude could have been going home in a year, could have been going home in 2 or 3 months. So he's not willing to throw away all that for a little bit of crumbs. But at the end of the day, like I said, man, that's why gambling is so dangerous. And when you know these things in prison, you know these situations are potentially on the horizon, try to stay away from them, man. Anyway, look, y'all already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.